I was never supposed to meet the queen of the Varelian Dominion. In fact, according to every briefing, treaty, and survival guideline issued by Earth Command, I was supposed to stay as far away from her as possible. The Varelians were powerful, territorial, and ruled by a single monarch whose authority was absolute. Their queen was described as brilliant, ruthless, and utterly alien in both thought and biology. So naturally, I met her by accident. It happened during a diplomatic escort mission on the border of Varelian space. My job wasn't glamorous. I was a human systems engineer attached to a neutral delegation, there to keep translators, environmental controls, and emergency tech running. I wasn't a soldier. I wasn't a diplomat. I was the guy who fixed things quietly in the background. Which is why, when pirates attacked our convoy and chaos broke out, no one noticed when my escape pod malfunctioned. The pod didn't take me back to human space. It took me straight to the heart of the Varelian throne world. I was captured within minutes. Varelians were tall, elegant, and terrifyingly composed. Their skin shimmered like polished stone, their eyes facete like gemstones, and their movements carried the confidence of a species that had never truly feared extinction. I was dragged through vast halls of living crystal and light, past soldiers who looked at me with curiosity rather than hatred. Finally, the guards stopped before enormous doors that unfolded like petals. Inside waited the queen, Queen Salith Vranex. She sat upon a throne grown from luminous crystal, her posture relaxed but commanding. A living crown of energy hovered above her head, shifting colors with her emotions. When her gaze fell on me, the room seemed to tighten. "So," she said, her voice resonant and precise, carried flawlessly through the translator. "This is the human who fell from the sky." "I'd prefer unexpected guest, Your Majesty," I said before I could stop myself. The guard stiffened. The queen raised a hand, and then, to everyone's shock, she smiled. "Interesting," she murmured. "You're not afraid." "Oh, I'm terrified," I replied honestly. "I just cope badly." That was the first mistake I ever made with her. The second was surviving. Instead of executing or imprisoning me indefinitely, Queen Salith ordered me studied. Not tortured, observed. My biology fascinated her scientists. Human adaptability, resilience, and neuroplasticity were unlike anything they'd encountered. I was given quarters, freedom within limits, time, and eventually, conversations. The Queen summoned me often, initially to question me about humanity, our wars, our art, our contradictions. I answered honestly, sometimes sarcastically, sometimes thoughtfully. She listened, always listened. Over weeks, something shifted. She dismissed her guards during our talks, asked questions no ruler should ask a captive, laughed at my jokes, challenged my assumptions, and slowly, impossibly, stopped treating me like a subject. One evening, after a particularly long discussion about leadership and loneliness, she said quietly, "Do you know why I continue these meetings, human?" I hesitated. "Because I'm entertaining." Her eyes glowed faintly. "Because you see me as a person, not a symbol." That night changed everything. What followed was not a single reckless moment, but a bond forged over time. Consent, curiosity, and connection crossing species, culture, and expectation. In Varelian society, emotional bonds were rare among rulers. Physical unions rarer still. An offspring? Unthinkable. I knew it could never last. I knew, eventually, Earth would find me, or I would find a way home. When the time came, I asked for permission to leave. The Queen did not answer immediately. Instead, she stood from her throne and approached me slowly, her expression unreadable. "Before you go," she said, "there is something you must know." The air felt heavy. My instincts screamed that something was wrong. She placed a hand over her abdomen. The energy crown above her head flared violently. "I am pregnant with your child, human." The room went silent. My brain stopped functioning. "I'm sorry," I said weakly. "You're what?" "Pregnant," she repeated, her voice sharp now, furious, conflicted. "Which should be impossible. Our species is not compatible with others. We have tried for millennia." She turned away, pacing. "Yet your biology adapted. Your cells changed. Your genetic structure bridged the gap." I swallowed hard. "So, I broke your science." "You broke everything," she snapped. Then she faced me again, eyes blazing. "And you are not leaving." The announcement sent shockwaves through the Dominion. A half-human heir was unprecedented and dangerous. Some nobles demanded my execution. Others saw opportunity. Whispers of rebellion spread. The queen was furious, not at me, but at the universe that had forced her into vulnerability. Yet every time I offered to leave, to disappear so her rule wouldn't be threatened, she refused. "You do not abandon your offspring," she said coldly, "and I will not allow mine to grow without knowing their father." The middle months were the hardest. I was no longer a guest. I was a political fault line. Assassination attempts followed. Poisoned air systems. Sabotaged corridors. Each time, human reflexes and stubborn survival kept me alive. I learned to fight alongside Varelian guards, adapting quickly, improvising relentlessly. That was when the whispers changed. Humans were weak, they said, until they weren't. When an extremist faction launched a coup, storming the palace while the queen was vulnerable, it was me who dragged her to safety, took a blade meant for her, and kept fighting even as blood soaked the crystal floors. I didn't win through strength. I won through refusal to quit. By the time loyal forces reclaimed the throne, the image was burned into every screen across the Dominion, a wounded human standing in front of the queen, refusing to fall. The rebellion collapsed. Months later, as the queen held our child, a radiant being with human eyes and Varelian light, the Dominion knelt. Not because of fear, but because the future had changed. Queen Salith looked at me then, exhaustion and resolve in her gaze. "I once refused to let you leave out of anger," she said softly. "Now I ask you to stay out of choice." I looked at our child. At her. At the stars beyond the palace. "I'm not going anywhere," I said. And for the first time in its history, the Varelian Dominion had not just a queen, but a family. And humanity had just become far more important to the galaxy than anyone had ever imagined.